soup can.
That's about it.
Well, no, I like that, though. I like the fact that you're sitting there, your voice comes across really, really beautiful. You know what I mean? It comes across really, really nice. I've had people actually say, man, is that woman that's on those calls, is she like a professional radio personality or something?
Really?
Because it sounds so good on your end.
Wow.
And I go, well, yeah, she does sound like that. And I said she's using some type of a recorder, but I'm not joking. I like the fact that I sound out there.
Huh.
You know what I mean? So you sound amazing real close right here, and then I sound like I'm coming in from a soup can.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell the difference, yeah.
And that's what I like about it, though.
And that's cool.
Somebody says, it'd be really nice if you could get your voice to have that same quality. I said, I don't want it to.
Yeah.
There's a reason I don't want it to. Yeah. I want that differential.
Space. Yeah, the space.
I want that. Yeah, I really do. I want you to sound one way, big, bold, full, all that stuff. But that way, people can differentiate between the two. If we were both in a studio, then and both of them were mic'd properly, then we'd be having a conversation, and people might get lulled. But when I come across the soup can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and
then they know it's me.
Right, and it also supports the reality of space, you know?
Yeah, space, distance between the two of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're not at the same point.
No, we're not.
So you listened to the call last night. What do you think?
It was really good. Yeah.
I was all over the place.
Becky had a question, though. She said, Linda, are we supposed to go get that same pen and the same purple pad?
No, I put that as an example for people that the purple ink and the purple thumbprint I use, and it doesn't have to be the same. Right. It just can't be red or can't be blue or can't be black.
Well, that's what I told her, but I thought it would be good to be on a recording, because she went to that conclusion. I thought other people might too. So
but they do, but the point is I would rather have them come to that conclusion that they should have the exact same stuff, rather than think that they can do, red, blue, or black.
Right.
So I don't care how they get it, how they come about getting it. It doesn't matter. It's only purple, and it's not a type of purple or a specific purple. It's just not red, blue, or black.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Once I got going, I mean, there was epiphanies for myself.
It always happens, doesn't it?
When I was talking, shit came out of my mouth that I didn't know was going to come out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm. So, for instance, there were some things I was thinking of last night, but let me see if I can get my brain functional enough to think about them.
Well, I had a conversation earlier, and the idea that you have to have the jacket to get into the United States.
Yeah.
You know that raiment is your cloak or your jacket. The United States is the fatherland. America is the motherland.
Yeah.
And they have to reconcile. They have to be together in order for you to be considered whole and have an inheritable position, a legitimacy.
Right.
What they do by cutting the cord is they separate the father and the mother. Mm-hmm. They separate the bloodline of the father from the soil of the mother.
Yes.
And now there's an illegitimate position.
Right.
So the United States of America is the reconciliation, is the reconciled position of the fatherland and motherland. Mm-hmm. What we're experiencing right now is the fatherland has been cut off from the motherland completely, and so they're forcing all the masks to evidence that 14th Amendment citizenry. The 14th Amendment citizen is the fatherland.
Right. Okay.
It's the vessel. Yeah. It's the boat you came over on, which evidences from the fatherland.
So they're forcing the fatherland on the motherland by making people wear it?
They're evidencing the split or the break, and so the mask itself evidences the missing, what used to be paper, what used to be a birth. birth certificate has become a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the vessel. It's the boat you came over on, which evidences from the fatherland. So they're forcing the fatherland on the motherland by making people wear it. They're evidencing the split or the break, and so the mask itself evidences the missing, what used to be paper, what used to be a birth certificate has become a mask.
Yeah.
persona. So the commercial aspect that used to be on a piece of paper is now on a mask. So when you wear a mask, it's no different than putting a fucking birth certificate on your face.
Right. I know. Charlie.
That's what the mask should look like. I think that we should just manufacture masks that look like birth certificates.
Yeah. Well, Charlie has a birth certificate piece of paper that she made into a paper doll.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
And then she put a mask on it, and so when she goes someplace and people say, you have to wear a mask, she pulls it out of her purse and says, "It is wearing a mask."
and it's a voodoo doll.
Yes, it is totally a voodoo doll.
And that's what they got us to believe in. They got us to believe in this separation of this other character outside of herself, or the one that's frozen in time, or all that nonsense. I went over it last night, and that's out of the womb is the son with the breast, but they cut off in the womb is the father. So now we've been cut off from dad. We have no legitimacy. We have no last name. We have no inheritable position, and so we're all orphan children on the outside of the womb, and we're all unborn infants inside the womb. Yeah. There's two positions.
So I have to tell you this. So I was down hanging out with Charlie yesterday in Longmont, and we were looking at some of my, documents, and I have the original, the bottom half of the original Social Security card that my mother got for me at some point in time. I don't even know when she got it. And then I have some later ones. And the upper half that I had, I'm pretty sure I lost it somewhere in time and space over the years because, you didn't used to carry them around with you all the time. Anyway, I was looking at it, at the two differences, and the first one, Kurt, has Linda M. Hildred.
Really?
Second one has Linda M. Hildred. The third...
No.
Then I got a third one because we were a friend...
And it has no middle initial at all?
No, the third one is the Linda Marie Hildred.
Really?
Uh-huh. And
they're all different characters.
Yeah, and the first one has no red number on the back of the card. The second one has a number with a D on it, and the third one has a number with a G on it. And I know those are different accounts. Well, they're different accounts, but they're also I have a list that they're specific. One is G is Chicago Federal Reserve, and D is
Denver.
No, it's not Denver. I can't remember what one it is, and it's not easily accessible right now. But I'd never seen the period before on that first one. I'd looked at it before, and all of a sudden, and I looked at it several times yesterday, and all of a sudden I went, OMG, it's a period. And
that's the first card you ever got?
That's the first card I ever got. But my sister, who's 7 years younger than me, her first card has... and she was 15 or something when she got it. I don't know how old I was when I got mine, but somewhere in the 50s and early 60s. I don't know when she got it for me.
75 probably.
And Becky's was after the gold thing, 75, she said. Hers first one was Rebecca L. Hildred, no period.
I thought it was Lynn.
Oh, is it? Rebecca Lynn? Okay, maybe it's her full name. I don't know, the full 3-character name. Anyway, I just thought that was pretty fascinating.
And again, we'll never really know what they're doing. And you got to let go of, I'm obviously detail-oriented, but I'm not detail-oriented down into that muck.
Yeah.
My details are bringing us out of the muck.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you get to the root cause, and you bypass the details.
Yes. And yes.
Think about laying in bed with a really bad flu or something. You have all these symptoms. Mm-hmm. You're achy, your nose is running, your throat is scratchy, you're having a hard time breathing. They're all symptoms, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
they're all symptoms of the same problem.
Yes, and these are all symptoms.
So when you get rid of the problem, all the different symptoms go away, just like all those different characters on that Social Security number or card.
Right.
They're all symptoms of the same cut.
Yes, they are. Absolutely.
And so you go all the way back to the beginning and allow for continuity, and that's why the very first word in the first paragraph of the letter is metamorphosis.
Yes. Transformation. Yes.
It's a transformation, but it's from a single cell to and through evolution to where you stand or sit today.
Yes.
And that's why, again, each word, like Kelly said last night, every word in this damn thing speaks volumes.
Yes.
And the biggest part is, if you're frozen in time, do you ever change?
Nope.
No. So what they did is they cut us off, and we're fixed. We're fixed. We're literally fixed, just like a cat would be fixed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that's why the male, when he's frozen in time, is fixed, and therefore he has no capacity for offspring. Mm-hmm. And so by us being frozen males in infancy, we can never actually produce offspring either. Mm-hmm. So that there are no males in America. It's all female. It is literally the Amazonian women.
Yeah.
America is the Amazons.
Wow. Yep.
It's an all-female culture.
Yep. It is totally. And it's becoming more and more obvious it is.
Well, they're making it biologically female, too, with all the hormones they're putting in the meats and all the dudes growing breasts. And
yeah, right.
It's becoming biologically feminine.
Yeah. But before that, the mind was becoming more, collectivism and all of that, too, which is the feminine.
Which is also why in the letter I put, it initiates a false, fraudulent, communal identity.
Yes.
So, because we're not communal. Yeah. You and I can love each other and get together and work together and do all kinds of stuff and trade between each other, but we're not one.
No.
We're in fact two.
Mm-hmm. There can never be one.
We can never occupy the same space or actually experience the same time because we're separated in time and space.
We can never take in the same inspiration.
No, and the only place you and I can ever meet is where?
In the mind.
In the mind, which is heaven. So when we meet, even to meet, the concept of meeting is agreement.
Yes.
So us even speaking and understanding at the conscious level is a form of agreement.
Yes.
And if we don't meet, it's the meeting of the minds. If we don't meet in the mind, then we don't meet at all, and there can be no agreement.
That's right.
So they get us to agree to a time frame, the Gregorian calendar, or the Anumundi calendar, or a fictitious jurisdiction, and our mind goes into that jurisdiction, doesn't it?
Yes.
So they get us to go where they are instead of us having them come into reality.
So even the meeting of the minds is a form of, can be a form of cutting off from the physical or the reality.
Yes, absolutely. If I agree that the movie I'm watching on the screen is real, if I become that mentally ill to think that what I'm watching on the movie screen is real, that I have abdicated reality mentally. So the Lord of reality, my mind over my body, is no longer my government.
No.
And I've given up that governmental seat to another government.
Yes.
That's what they've done to us. They've got us to agree and fight about it, the Constitution and all that nonsense, when that's not our government at all.
Right. I'm just really... I've been practicing this thing of feeling the impact in my body on a feel level of the truth of the matter, because that's how I think we have to really, in the end, balance it. It's like we have to really be able to feel the truth of what we've done.
I was out shoveling this morning. We got about 2.5 inches of snow, which is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I was out shoveling.
Do you?
And I love shoveling, by the way, just so you know.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking about what you just said right there. And a smile came to my face based upon the idea of joy.
Mm-hmm.
When you recognize all the way down your godly origin,
mm-hmm.
and you really get it, there's no fear at all. In fact, there's nothing but love. And so even though this mask nonsense is going on, and I won't deal with the mask, I won't deal with masked people.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be nice to them if I have to, as far as if somehow they end up where I'm at, because I won't go where they are.
Mm-hmm.
But if they end up where I'm at for some reason, I will deal with them at a very
polite
level.
Mm-hmm.
But since I don't go into their domain anymore, I don't go into that nonsensical place, and I'm basically here at the house.
Mm-hmm.
I will not interact with the mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
I won't do it.
Yeah, I get it.
And I don't have to.
Right.
So until this nonsense is reconciled, until reality kicks back in, or everybody just starts killing each other, which I think is actually the intent.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I won't deal with, but I will politely deal with them if they end up on my property.
Right.
But other than that, I cannot even look at. It's hard for me to not throw up
mm-hmm.
around people wearing a fucking mask,
yeah.
because I'm so disgusted with their inability to think at all, and I mean it all.
Mm-hmm. Well,
don't pretend you're doing it for me when I'm telling you right now, the last thing I want to see on your fucking face is a mask.
Yeah. The what I realize is it's not just the mind, it's what's when you're cut off from your inheritance, when you're cut off from your legacy, it's also a loss of will, which is in the substance. It's literally, you have to numb out in order to be able to do that, and the more you do that, the more willless you get. And I see how I've done that to myself in ways that were subtle and I didn't see, and I'm having to recover that. And I put myself in this position where, you know, we had this great thing about going out and traveling in this RV, and it's the having to deal every day with that reality, that fiction out there is so overwhelming that it's become not a joy, the thought of even doing it. And so then it's like reorienting myself, because I gave up my space that I could just hunker down in and stay, and facing all of that reality is a very interesting process. I can feel the joy, but I can also feel the terror in between right now for me, because I haven't set myself in a position that I can just be. And
what you now, can your sister work from that mobile? Maybe.
I mean, we're working on it, and even there are some things in the works. But even where to just put it is.
That's what I mean. That's what I was getting at. Is there are people out there that have enough land.
Yeah.
That would be probably willing to have two really decent people just pull the trailer and park it.
Yeah, I've thought of a couple of people that I've have contact with through our group. I don't want to say their names on this.
No, you don't. But here's what I'm getting at is it's not nomadic, and it's not gypsy-esque to want to live a very simple, I won't call it Spartan, but very simple life. When you were talking to me about what that dilemma you're feeling right now, see, I get really, really go inside. People don't realize that as long as I have a book and I can ponder, I can be very still.
Yeah, me too.
And I still have to go out and swing a golf club. I still have to do my golf exercises and stuff like that. To not be sore and to not get stiff and all that. But when it comes to, I would to sit and live in a very, very small area, as long as I have heat, a roof over my head, and a decent book, and some good company, and a cup of coffee. Oh, coffee, Kurt, don't drink it. Whatever. What I'm getting at is to fill myself with joy, like I was this morning when I was shoveling. I thought, oh my God, I was actually overwhelmed with this incredible power that even if somebody at that point just says, you got to do this, and you go, you know what, you're going to do whatever you're going to do anyway.
Exactly.
And that's when you realize that it could be the last moment of your life. And if somebody's willing to execute you or kill you because you won't wear a mask that's supposed to save you.
Right.
Think about that. Think about the oxymoronic mindset that they're going to execute you or kill you because you won't wear a mask that's supposed to save you.
Yeah. And where have you seen that before throughout history?
Yeah. Yeah. I hope last night I explained Jesus well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a scary place. When people don't realize that just by acknowledging Jesus, they acknowledge the cut. By acknowledging the cut, that's a break from God.
Yeah, yeah. It's so that one is going to be so hard for people to really take in. Really, they're fully immersed in that.
There's almost no way to explain it until you can see the cut as the amnion, as the lamb, as the Jesus. When you understand what was cut off of you, by the fact that you even claim the word Jesus, you're acknowledging the cut. Where in fact, if you go all the way back to fertilization, there is no Jesus. It's all one.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I'm still using that same matter today, which is why the word metamorphosis. All right, you want to do this letter?
Yep, I'm ready.
Because the metamorphosis is the whole idea, is that if I change from that to this, I'm still that and this at the same time.
Yes, you are. And a butterfly
all right, so
can only exist if there was a caterpillar, just as you and I can only exist if there was a zygote. It's
absolutely, and that's the whole point, is that I'm not the one cell, but I am the one cell.
Yes.
Because that one cell represents the entirety of the estate, and I am the entirety of the estate in the meantime.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to metamorphosis.
Okay.
Let's read the first paragraph. It says, similar to the metamorphosis of an earthbound caterpillar into a free-flying butterfly, one's unique genesis and evolutionary progress from a perfect, non-reducible, single-celled masterpiece zygote in the womb to a whole, non-reducible, thoroughly enlightened, inspired man beyond the womb may be a mysterious thing to the marginal, unlearned, or huddled masses. But truth be told, such a perfect, indivisible thing occurs every day within the laws of nature and nature's God. Yet, imagine, if you will, Mr. President, the nightmare experienced by a butterfly unable to disconnect from the burden of its immature, earthbound past and wingless counterpart. Metamorphosis. I'm at Webster's Online, so I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible because there's a lot to cover. Metamorphosis. This is Webster's. It says, change of physical form, structure, or substance, especially by supernatural means. Supernatural. A striking alteration in appearance, character, or circumstances. Again, the caterpillar and butterfly are one and the same thing, but there's a striking alteration in its appearance.
Yes, absolutely.
One is belly down on the ground, and the other is flying spiritually up in the sky. Same exact thing, but altered.
It is actually such a miracle, isn't it? I mean,
it is.
When you think that we came out of this one cell to what we are, and a butterfly comes out of a worm.
Cocoon or chrysalis.
Right, but its origin is this thing that crawls on the ground. You know it.
And in other words, the ground belly crawling thing had a single origin, and as the butterfly. In other words, it is just a change. Like David Bowie says, changes. Two, a typically marked and more or less abrupt developmental change in the form or structure of an animal. Look at that, such as a butterfly or frog. Remember the tadpole? That's look at that. The tadpole it looks exactly like a sperm.
Yes, it does. I've seen them.
But it turns but it turns into a frog. It says occurring subsequent to birth or hatching. And so subsequent is what follows, and that's us. So from a single cell to this trillion cell universe sitting here speaking to you right now, it's all the same thing. It's just morphed.
So can we do that word, universe?
What? Universe? Universe. Okay, I'm gonna stay at Webster's.
Yep, I'm doing it.
Word.
As you said it.
I just wanted to say that because people use that word. I mean, you're showing that when they say word, it's an agreement. It's like giving their word or agreement.
Yeah.
Universe. Look at this. The whole body of things. So all the cells that look like individual cells, just my favorite way to explain this too is the yin and yang symbol. If I ask you to describe the yin and yang symbol, do it. Tell me what it looks like. What is it?
It's like two little fishes curled around each other with a bit of one of the one is light and one is dark, and there's a point of the dark in the light and a point of the light in the dark.
Right. There's two poles. One pole is light, the other is dark, and around the light pole is darkness, and around the dark pole is lightness.
Yes.
And they're swirling around each other, but that's the two-dimensional view. I mean, if you think of it as three dimensions, then it's a sphere with an equilibrium happening.
Yes.
But I said the symbol of yin and yang. So again, you described what? The bipolarity of the two poles.
Yes.
But there's a single outside frontier edge of the symbol. It's the outside of the circle, isn't it?
Yes.
So you got two poles, two things going on inside, but how many things are you actually describing?
One,
because the symbol is a symbol. It's singular, isn't it? So the symbol represents what's going on inside, which is a bipolarity.
Yes.
Light and dark. Just like the zygote. The zygote is a single thing with a male and female pole.
Yes.
And that's why people get confused, is the singularity known as the zygote is the entire universe.
Yes.
It's the whole body of things.
Yes.
And then when it subdivides, it doesn't matter how many pieces within it, it's still one thing, isn't it? It's still one universe.
Yeah.
That's us.
Yeah.
We have a universe.
Yes. And if you click on Cosmos, look what it says.
All right. So it says the whole body of things are phenomena observed or postulated, and then the word cosmos. What does it say?
Well, universe is the first one. B is an orderly, harmonious, systematic universe. And then it has order, harmony. And then 2 is a complex, orderly, self-inclusive system.
So there it is right there. There's the zygote. In fact, it's the entirety of your existence.
Yep.
There's none like it, never has been, never will be again.
Nope.
That's why when they cut a piece off and they put it into the collective, and they call it the general public, or put it into the public pool, what they're doing is they're taking something unique and they're homogenizing it into a one giant universal John Doe.
Yeah.
A general public that can be captured and dealt with as a single thing. When there's billions of people, they treat the billions of people as one thing now. By cutting a piece of you off, putting it into that general public pool, cesspool actually, because it's all non-necessary waste material at this point in your life. So they're using the waste material or the unnecessary to create that Leviathan, that Kraken, that other creature, which is actually the sea monster.
Yeah.
Globally.
I'm just feeling the horror of it all. I mean, all.
Well, I still think we have a chance to stop it, but it's going to take 13 of us.
Well, no, I'm not that. It's just the reality of what has been, of that fiction, of what has been created, and you know, and I get, and I've always said it, that I always knew I was part of it, that I was somehow agreeing to the whole thing somehow, and now that I understand that, but it's you know, I just see that it's like I can see how someone who's disconnected can take steps and create a monster that they're you know, like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. It's like, oh my God. Or you look back at your creation and go, you know, holy shit, look what I did. I didn't realize that's what I was creating. And I see how we've done that in our individual lives by our ignorance and disconnect from our own you know, the wholeness of ourselves.
They stitched together through this public pool, DNA pool, a giant global Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, is Frankenstein. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
I know what you were thinking.
Yeah.
And but what they did is they took the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. What they did is they took a piece of us, the hide, the skin, and they deposited that into the global consciousness as a singular Frankenstein monster.
Yeah.
So the Hyde, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, the Dr. Jekyll part is a piece of us. The Mr. Hyde is our substance. Dr. Jekyll is the thought. Mr. Hyde is the substance. They took the substance or piece of our substance, put it into a global DNA pool to create a global. You could call it a Leviathan. You can call it a Frankenstein. You can call it a sea monster, whatever you want to call it, the Kraken.
Yeah,
but it's all of that stuff, and yet it's none of it.
Yeah, and that's the nightmare experienced that you write in.
That's the nightmare that is not we experience now, because we don't know how they can do what they do against us, but it's our willful participation to be non-thinking.
Yes.
The fact that they cut a piece of us off when it didn't need to be cut. It should have all come into the new world as one unit, but they cut a piece off, leaving a piece behind. That left behind piece becomes the subject to their entire story, or their multiple versions of stories. All the fiction is based upon the cut.
Yeah. Well, and they cut it, and then they created a story. That's the whole thing. And we bought in, our spirit bought in, our mental bought into the story. Hook, line, and sinker, so to speak.
By claiming the birthday.
Yep.
There it is. That's the whole thing right there. By us renewing the annual contract.
Yep.
That birthday becomes an annual contract to this nightmare.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Okay. It's amazing. I mean, this is absolutely amazing stuff. Genesis. Similar to the metamorphosis of an earthbound caterpillar into the free-flying butterfly, one's unique genesis. Let's go to unique. Let's just tear this apart. Maybe we'll only get through this paragraph today.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So let's go to unique.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so much in this. Maybe we just do a paragraph at a time or something. I don't know. Unique.
Being the one, only one, soul.
being without a like or equal, unequal. So, if you're unique, is there such a thing as equality?
No.
The fact that your 46 chromosomes are sold, there's nobody else on the planet with those same 46 chromosomes, makes you unique. The neat thing about being unique is that there is no equality. Nature's not equal. There's no such thing as equality in nature. So do you want equality? And if you choose equality, what do you have to give up? You have to give up your uniqueness.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't want to do that. The reason I am the way I am is it's because of my uniqueness. I cannot be homogenized into the global Frankenstein. And that's the problem, is that I think that the thing that I bring to the table, my mindset or the way I think, is what is attractive.
Yes.
And that attractiveness is the thing, or a commodity. My commodity. It doesn't matter whether that attractiveness creates a golf idea or golf product or a mindset. It is what it is. And that's me. Nobody else is that.
No. And then two unique, particular ones can come together like we do here and create another unique experience that you and I experience that's different from what you experience with each other one that you interact with.
Exactly, because the interplay between uniqueness brings about something, an event or a feeling. And that's what people don't realize, is that I like the thought of all the different global what would it be called? When I go to Japan, I don't want to eat at McDonald's.
No.
When I go to Italy, I don't want to eat at McDonald's.
Yeah.
When I go to Finland, I don't want to eat at McDonald's. I want to experience the culture, the different, completely different culture.
Yes.
And that's what I love about it. Everybody's different. All the cultures are different, and you get to experience this incredible difference. Last thing I want is one global fucking culture. What a nightmare that even the thought of that makes me physically ill.
When I was in Sweden in 1976 as an exchange student, and one of the things that was so unique there was the sound of wooden shoes on the pavement. And it was just Sweden, and there were lots of other things too, but just that sound. And I was so saddened when I went back in 1987 that they were completely gone.
What did they change to? Birkenstock?
No. The tennis shoes. I mean, what's the one? Just Do It. What's the name of that company?
Oh, Nike.
Nike. They all went to that kind of shoe.
Well,
and
again,
I understand. I mean, it's a comfortable shoe, but it's just, again, it's not that they chose to do that, which I understand. It's, again, that feeling of loss of that uniqueness that is so rich when you go and experience that uniqueness.
That's the richness. There it is right now. The wealth within the culture is itself. It's the things that culture comes up with. I mean, am I going to want to wake up and have every morning, lox and bagels? No, but every once in a while they taste really good.
Well, and that's you tap into, and if you can be open and just interested and open to the other culture, there's such a richness that's so beyond words that you gain by being in that and immersed in that uniqueness there that you can't get any other way.
Well, that's what's so funny. It's so hard for me to explain my forcefulness, where I force my ideas on others. Yet I'm completely accepting.
Yes.
So when I see something wrong, again, it's like that child standing on the curb that I scream at. I'm going to force my idea of staying alive on that child.
Right.
By screaming at him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's me stopping a wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But by the same token, I'm totally accepting of cultural differences and everything else, and I love those.
Yes.
So my forcefulness is knowing innately right from wrong,
yes,
and forcing that or speaking out about that. But culturally, I'm not going. I mean, I don't. If a culture believes in something, I don't. It's not me to change it. I'm not here to change the culture.
No, it's actually that stopping and the knowing the truth is actually defending that culture's right to have what they have.
And they get to keep it. Yes. I'm not subject to it, though. There it is right there. Right. That culture, if they choose to live that way, I'm not subjected to it.
Yes.
So if there's a culture that females wear burqas,
mm-hmm,
hey, all right, I'm good with that.
Mm-hmm.
If that's how they choose to live,
mm-hmm,
all right, do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not subjecting my wife to it.
Right.
And I don't live there.
Yeah. Well,
my point is that all cultures, I don't have a right to speak about that collective culture to change it, just because my view is different.
Right. And there's
until they decide to change.
Yeah, my experience was by going to another culture and being totally open to their way of being without taking it on. But I also got to let go of my culture and just be. And there was such freedom in that.
To experience the other culture.
To experience the other culture, not through the filter of my culture, of this is right and this is wrong. It was just experiencing their culture as it is. And I, for some reason, have the capacity to do that. And it was actually more difficult once I felt that freedom of just being and not pulled by any culture. Coming back to my culture was the hard part.
Well, that's because maybe you have none. No, I mean, what America has become is the homogenization of, in other words, the melting pot where nobody is any, there is no culture.
Yeah.
The culture's being melted down into nothingness, into one giant bland gray area.
Yep.
And I again, here's a weird story, but I went to a jewelry school. Here I was extreme middle class, white, blonde-headed at the time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Middle of the road family, mm-hmm, 6 kids, and there was no poverty or anything in my life. It was pretty easy. I had a great childhood. Mm-hmm. My dad provided amazing for all of us, but we weren't wealthy. Mm-hmm. Yep. We had everything we ever could want, and need, but realistically, it was just easy for the kids. Dad did a great job of providing, and Mom was a great mom. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. When I went to jewelry school down in Quincy, Illinois, I was probably 22 at the time or something around that. I'm not really sure now. My memories are tainted. I went down in a brand new car that I had bought because I had a good job at the time. So I went down to Quincy, Illinois, and I had to take an apartment, a sight unseen. Mm-hmm. I didn't know Quincy, Illinois. I didn't know, the good side of the town from the bad side. Mm-hmm. And so I took this apartment to go to this school, mm-hmm, this jewelry school. I got down there in my new car with my $800 stereo in 1982. So imagine what $800 is worth today.
Yeah.
And I found out that I was in the absolute worst side of town imaginable. Mm. I was basically in the hood. Mm-hmm. And when I got there, I was like the only white guy. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm saying this on a recording for a reason. Right. I want people to understand what this conversation is about. I was in the hood in Quincy, Illinois. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is because of my outlook, because of my perspective, and the fact that I get along with everybody. Even, it's hard to tell that I would get along with anybody. Mm-hmm. But I get along with everybody because I allow that culture to flourish without me trying to change it.
Yep.
I ended up going to parties, where I was the only white guy. Mm-hmm. I lost a wallet with money in it at a party where I was the only white guy, and I got it back with the money in it. Mm-hmm. Because I ended up being accepted into that culture.
Yep.
I didn't become the culture. I was accepted into it while I was there, and there was actually a type of protection. Mm-hmm. I actually ended up becoming friends with one of the hood, the tough guys, without even knowing it. He just got out of prison, for crying out loud. They called him Big Red. Mm-hmm. And Big Red said, Kurt, you'll never have to worry about your car while you're here.
Yep.
Because nobody will touch it. Mm-hmm. And so there was a type of protection over me while I was there, but only because I allowed what was going on. I didn't interfere.
Right.
And I actually enjoyed learning what was going on. Mm-hmm. I went to school during the day, but at night, I came home. Mm-hmm. And I sat on the porch and drank basically Ripple, or I drank out of a 40-ounce and shared it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mad 50-50.
Yeah, man, it doesn't matter. The point is that I enjoyed that time, even though I was living in the hood and I was experiencing some stuff that I never even imagined. But the fact is that I allowed it, and I went into it without fighting it.
Right, with an openness. Wasn't there a richness that you experienced?
It was. I mean, don't get me wrong. It wasn't nerve-wracking because I knew I was okay. Mm-hmm. And when I got my wallet back with the money, that was evidence.
Yeah, that's right.
And again, that's when I realized, even at 22, that I enjoy all of it. Mm-hmm. But I don't want you to change for me. I want you to stay you.
Yeah.
Because it's you that I'm enjoying. I don't want you to become me.
Right. Yep.
So I'm not going to force me or my ideas on you. Either you understand them and you understand that my ideas allow you to be you. Mm-hmm. Your ideas, and I'm saying this euphemistically, your ideas are not allowing me to be me. So when people force their bullshit ideas on me, like a mask, that first of all, masks don't fit into nature. Mm-mm. And that's so far outside of even culture. Masks are not cultural. They're fucking mental illness.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're mental illness. This is not a cultural thing at this point. This is mental illness.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to accept a culture that is based on mental illness.
Yeah.
I'll never accept mental illness as a culture. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to end up being that guy that in an insane society, the sane man would appear insane. I will be the insane. Mm-hmm. I will be looked at as the insane. Mm-hmm. The non-virtuous, even. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm not going to signal virtue when that virtue evidences mental illness.
Right. Yep.
So I'm not going to participate in a mentally ill system.
Yeah.
Now, if that mental illness or that mask is evidence of participation economically, then I would rather have somebody say, Kurt, this economic system requires this thing. Then fucking tell me it. Mm-hmm. Don't hide it from me. Mm-hmm. Don't pretend that this birth certificate is not my fucking property.
Right.
That this material that you cut off of me is not mine. And that there's a deposit and an equity in that system.
Yeah.
That keeps me out of the jail system. That keeps me from being corrected.
Right. Yeah.
Instead, hide behind a new idea of COVID, which is another economic system or a new story. Right. I would rather know what I'm dealing with and choose to participate or not.
Yep.
Than to have a bunch of mentally ill motherfuckers actually force it on me.
Yeah. And choose.
Because that's where we're at today.
Yeah, and choose when to participate and when not.
No, not even that works for me because I don't choose to put on a mask ever.
Well, no, right. I'm
not going to choose to put on a mask to go into Target or go into I can't even go to a hotel because they won't allow it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go to a restaurant now in Illinois because they're all closed. Nobody can be inside. So this nonsense is full-blown 100% monopoly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Based upon economics that nobody knows exists.
Yep. I know.
And I'm not going to participate in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go without. Because the court of public opinion is forcing people to act like fucking clowns in a circus.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There it is. It's the new society. They should just rename it P.T. Barnum.
Really? True.
Yesterday I didn't get to drink any beer because I had to worry about last night's call. So today I'm going to drink. So I can participate in P.T. Barnum's with Bailey's.
Yeah.
So the only way I can deal with P.T. Barnum is with Bailey's. So that's what it is. Barnum and Bailey's.
Barnum and Bailey's.
This is why we only get through one paragraph a day.
I know.
Anyway, let's see what else is in here.
Oh,
I love. Yeah, go ahead.
Just for my own, I want to make sure because I was going to get my letter ready to go today. Are you sending yours out today, or what's the status on?
Okay, the additional 12, me plus 12. No, you're sending it to me, right?
Okay, I'm sending it to you. Okay.
You're sending it to me,
okay.
and you're going to send it to my present location. You're not going to send it to the location on the letter. So I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Off record.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
And so I'm collecting from the you people.
Okay.
My 12 plus me is 13, and you're going to send it to me.
Okay.
And then I'm going to put it. And remember, it has the same number. It has the same certified number on your letter.
Okay, cool.
They're all going in under one certified number.
Oh, that's right.
They're coming in as one letter from 13 people.
Yes, sweet. Cool.
That's the core.
I tell you what, I have such an urge for you to tell me who the 12 are and to drive around and collect them all and take it to you.
You just want to come and see me.
That too, but I feel the directionally correctness of doing this that is so strong that
I know, me too. I do too.
That's the way that it feels like I can support this is to, drive every effing place it needs to go and bring it in. Bring it in. What I'll do is I'll let everybody know who the 12 are. Okay. Because there are 12 people that have either been with me or have a very or have most of them have been with me a long time, and you would know them. Most of them, some of them have delved into this material hardcore just for a very short period of time, but they're all over it. So that means the call I did the other day with Cedric. Yeah, exactly. I love that man, and he's a friend of Hank's. Right. Yeah. So Cedric and Hank are two, and you are three. You see, you can start to, when you and Kelly, you can hear, who they are. Oh yeah. When you start to put them together. Yeah. But they have. There's no halfway here though. There are people that might want to be, and they're still going to be able to put their letters in. But when I send my letter, it's going to be 13 of us. Yeah. And that's the extent of my participation. Yep. Is to get everything in. By the way, all the evidence will be my evidence too, because my evidence applies to you. Yes. And yours is perfect. And mine is perfect. Mine, I have all of it, all the way down. And so when these 13 letters go as one unit, yes, I'm going to bind the letters together. Oh, good. That feels so good. Yeah, I'm going to actually grommet the letters to be one letter. So so each letter will come with a memoir. So I'll have 13 letters and 13 memoirs, 26 pages grommeted together. Yes. Yes. One right behind the other. You know what I mean? Yep. And there's our Knights of the Round Table. And by the way, King Arthur, what were they looking for? The Holy Grail.
the Holy Grail, and that's what we found.
Exactly.
So, and the disciples are speaking about the same material, aren't they?
Yes.
So what we're doing is we're identifying our wholeness and our direct link to God.
Yes.
And that's all we're doing. Nothing more. There's nothing more we can do than state the truth of the matter.
Yes.
And at that point, everything is going to fall the way it should fall.
Yep. The Holy Grail is us. Our Holy Grail is knowing our wholeness.
It's knowing our wholeness,
And
biblically it would be the Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, which is the Father is the zygote, the Son is the offspring of the zygote, which is the fetus, then baby, and then it's the breath in the baby, which is the Holy Spirit. So then all three are evidenced by you and I speaking right now, as long as we do not forget God the Father, the zygote.
That's right.
Our true origin.
Mm-hmm. And so
science agrees with us. Mm-hmm. All the religions of the world agree with us. Mm-hmm. There's no disagreement. That's why there's no enemy to truth. There's no enemy to truth.
No, there isn't. And it'll be 16 unique ones coming together.
How many?
13. Where did that come from? I don't know.
I don't know. It's 16. I have no idea what that is.
Where that came from. 13 unique ones saying we know the truth individually.
What's interesting is the Fibonacci sequence 1, 1, 2, 3, 8, 13.
Mm-hmm.
When you add all those up, it comes to 33.
Wow, that's right.
It comes to 33.
Wow.
And that 33 is 1 degree over 32. 32 is freezing. So at the 33rd degree, we thaw, don't we?
Yeah.
At the 33rd degree, at 33 degrees, it's 1 degree over freezing, which means it's thawing. Water flows at 33 degrees, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So does blood.
Yes.
So we've been frozen since we agreed to the cut.
Yep.
The 33rd degree would be us recognizing our godly origin all the way. All the way.
Wow.
Unique Genesis. Let's go to Genesis. At Webster's.
I'm there.
Well, Kurt, isn't Genesis part of the book, the first book of the Bible? Well, not capital G for us, but yeah, for the narrative. So Genesis, what does it say for definition of Genesis entry 1 of 2?
The origin or coming into being of something.
Is that the zygote?
Mm-hmm, sure is.
So, but look what it says. Genesis is small g there, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
If you ever had, do you have a tattoo?
No.
Well, you should get another one then. We should all have this version, this small letter G.
Yes.
I'm not saying we should get it tattooed on us, but it should be tattooed in our brain.
Yes, absolutely.
This small G Genesis is our godly origin.
Yes, it is.
It says the origin or coming into being of something. That's the zygote. Mm-hmm. So from fertilization, there is a genesis, small g, and it's the origin or coming into being of the zygote, the origin of the species.
Mm-hmm.
And but then right below that, there's a capital G Genesis, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
What does it say there?
The mainly narrative first book of canonical Jewish and Christian scripture.
So scripture is a scribed document or a script.
Yes.
Is that the same thing as a biological, substantial reality?
Absolutely no connection.
It's a fucking story.
Mm-hmm.
It can
never be reality, I guess.
It can never be reality. By the way, if you speak about canonical Jewish or Christian scriptures, are you the author of that scripture?
Absolutely not.
If you're not the scribe or the author of that script, do you own it?
Absolutely not.
That's what they did. They get us to participate in their script, and we give up our own reality.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So again, his story versus Ms. story, mystery. My story, M-Y-S-T-E-R-Y. Mystery is also M-Y space S-T-O-R-Y.
Yes.
Mystery and my story are one and the same thing.
Yes.
By the way, again, if you look up mystery, what does it say? We'll get to that. In fact, that word, I think that word's in here, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. It's in the first paragraph.
Yes, it is.
So one's unique genesis, unique origin or coming into being of something. One, O-N-E, one's unique genesis. Does that imply more than one?
Nope.
No, it's one thing, one's unique genesis and evolutionary progress. Let's go to evolution.
Okay.
Or let's go to evolutionary.
Okay.
Here's the words exact. Evolutionary. Oh, look at that.
Oh, it didn't go. It just went to evolution on mine. Did it go to evolutionary for you?
Yeah. I was at Webster's, I typed in evolutionary, and now it says definition of evolution.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
A, 1A, descent with modification from pre-existing species. A zygote is a pre-existing species, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the origin of the species. Cumulative inherited change in a population of organisms through time, leading to the appearance of new forms. So, does the fetus or baby look like the zygote?
No.
No, the zygote was one cell, the baby's trillions of cells. But it's the same thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The process by which new species or populations of living things develop from pre-existing forms through successive generations. If you look at each cell division is a generation, isn't it?
Yes.
So every time there's a subdivision or a cellular division in that zygote, or i.e. conceptus now, all those subdivisions are successive generations, aren't they?
Yes. Because each time, each moment that they divide is a new moment in time. It's now.
And it's a new generation.
Yes.
Within that estate.
Within that universe.
Within that singular universal estate called zygote.
Yes. Wow.
So, successive generations. Goes on to say, also, the scientific theory explaining the appearance of new species and varieties through the action of various biological mechanisms, such as natural selection, genetic mutation, or drift, or hybridization. Now, here's the problem. When they attach, when you look at the placenta, where it has both fetal DNA and maternal DNA, that's a hybrid, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's what, when they certificate that placental material, that's a hybrid.
Yes, it is. And
it's not me. It's not me, and it's not mom, is it?
No.
It's a new third person. It's a tertium quid. It's him. It's a third person.
Yeah, the tertium quid is a hybrid. Wow.
It's a hybrid.
Wow.
So, but it's not a hybrid because it's not reality.
Right. It's.
They give title to the hybrid, which is subject to Scripture.
Yeah. Well, and so I was just thinking. So in hybrids, no, I can't say it. I don't know if that's true or not. I was trying to think of whether they can't legally.
Be careful.
I can't do it. Never mind. Cancel.
No, the tertium quid is not a possibility if our origin is fertilization.
Correct.
If we remove our DNA from that placenta through a boundary claim, does the placenta exist as a tertium quid?
Absolutely not.
No, because there's not two things anymore. If I remove my fetal DNA from the placenta, all that's left is my mom's DNA, and that's my mom. There's no third party or there's no new third person, is there? There's no Reese's peanut butter cup.
And every time our mothers and fathers drop off the building materials, it's another unique zygote that's formed in another moment in time. It can never be...
Upon fertilization, yes.
Yes, upon fertilization. It's a unique act of God in that moment in time.
So when my mom and dad lay together, and 6 zygotes were created, because there were 6 of us kids.
Yep.
They were 6 zygotes, but they then differentiated into 6 unique
universe
beings. Well, the universe is a zygote. It's already whole, and that's a product of the building materials. But the act of God that created the zygote, that each zygote only was potential.
Yes.
But then each offspring of the zygote became the unique baby, or fetus, and or baby. My other 5 brothers and sisters.
Right.
Otherwise, we'd all be the same.
Yep.
If the zygote resulted in the same all the time, then I wouldn't have brothers and sisters that were unique. I would have a bunch of me or a bunch of my sister. We'd all be one. We'd all be exactly the same thing.
Yep.
But we're not.
No.
B, the historical development of a biological group such as a species, phylogeny or phylogeny, Phyllogeny. I'm going to click on that because I've never seen that word before. The evolutionary history of a kind of organism. There it is, right there. So this, I'm going to listen to it. Let me see how they pronounce it. Phylogeny. Say it again, Kurt. Phylogeny. Phylogeny. I was right. So, 2, the evolution of a genetically related group of organisms as distinguished from the development of an individual organism.
Yep.
There's your public pool right there.
Yep.
So what they're doing is they're collecting that cut material into a phylogenious group.
Yep.
And instead of the individual that comes out of each zygote, they're collecting all the material, the upfront material, the father material, into a phylogenious group that they're calling the public pool, or the world. That's where the world government's going. The world government's going to be over that world organism.
Yes.
Where instead of us individually.
Right.
Which, by the way, individual is not a dangerous word if the individual is connected by umbilical back to its origin.
Yes.
Because the individual by itself is cut off. But if the individual is linked through the umbilical back to God, or back to the zygotic material of the first cause, that's whole, W-H-O-L-E. Only when we're cut off are we subject to the individual without the history. That individual is what's being taxed. I mean, look at the 1040. It says individual tax, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So the individual is being taxed. The whole is not. That's why 22 U.S.C. 288A, B, and C are so clear. When an owner arrives in connection with his baggage and effects, there is no IRS and there's no duty, is there?
Right.
So when the baby, umbilical, and extra-embryonic are all one thing, that's 22 U.S.C. 288A, B, and C, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There it is. We're not broken. And if we're not broken, we're not taxed.
That's right.
Because remember, if we're not broken, it's all one thing, and it's all private. The moment a piece is cut off and put into the general public, that's when it's taxable, because it's not private anymore, it's public.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the public property that's being taxed. It's not the private. Right. But the only way you're wholly private, and not wholly, the only way you're private is whole, and that wholesomeness is what's untaxable.
Yep.
So in other words, the sin, it really is a sin tax.
Yes. Well, and
because only upon the break, only upon admission to the break are you taxable.
Yep. And so I looked up tax, the verb, and it says to evaluate, estimate, assess, handle, also censure and charge, but it comes from a Greek word in the 1560s, is to enter on a list, enroll.
Schindler's List.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's not, because Schindler's List is the list that made you whole and you got out of.
Yes.
So the cut animalistic people that were being punished, if you made it to Schindler's List,
You were free.
you were made whole, and you were exempt from the punishment, weren't you?
Yes.
So that list, again, if you go to Webster's 1828 and look up certificate, it says to be exempt from the ecclesiastical or religious tax base.
Yes.
That's Schindler's List.
Wow.
You don't have to pay the tax or we'll call it the toll or the piper
Yep.
to another song, to another story. Because my story, mystery, if I can find out what that mystery is, or if I can get back to my story, then my story's private and it's private property, and private property is untaxable.
That's right.
And if my property began at zygote, I got to go all the way back to zygote to become whole, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
That's why nobody's going to get this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an individual. Okay, good luck with that.
Yep. The ones with no body can't get it.
Yeah. Okay, it also says for phylogeny, the history or course of the development of something such as a word or custom. You see that, custom?
Mm-hmm.
Are you at phylogeny still?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me do this for the recording. Phylogeny.
And it's
Phylogeny. I'm doing that on purpose because they created a phylogenious organism based upon the cut material that they collect. So the collective is phylogenious.
Mm-hmm. And what is...
And that's the organism they're acting on. That's the organism they're taxing.
Right, and what's the name of the system? The
what is it?
Well, I was thinking of the Individual Protected Information, PHI.
Oh, yeah, phi.
PHI. Mm-hmm.
PHI.
And so they changed it from an I to a Y, but...
Well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, phi, what they're talking, when they talk about phi, PHI, that's the phi symbol, or that's the wholeness.
Right.
So what they're doing is they're protecting the whole. That's what people don't understand, is that the PHI, federally protected information, is the rest of your story. That's all of you. So they're protecting all of you. But you keep identifying the individual by claiming a birthday. So you keep breaking yourself, but then the Federal Reserve System is there to put you back together.
Yes.
But that's not really true. It's just all machination. It's all fake, because the reality is you came from zygote, and the continuity of life means that you're not dead, that even though they cut you, they didn't kill you. So the fact that you're still occupying this particular piece that is all one thing from the beginning means that somewhere along the line there is a counterfeit.
Yes.
That's important to know. So back to evolutionary. It says the process of change in a certain direction and unfolding. If you unfold, if you take one piece of paper and fold it up, it's still one piece of paper, isn't it?
Yes.
If you unfold it, it still just has a bunch of creases in it, like our faces over the years. Mm-hmm. But the point is it's still the same piece of paper.
Yes.
The action or instance of forming or giving something off, an emission, a process of continuous change from a lower, simpler, or worse to a higher, more complex, or better state. It's growth. Mm-hmm. Again, if they cut a piece off, does it move in time with you growing?
No.
No, it's frozen, cut, and it dies. Mm-hmm. It becomes a decedent estate, an unclaimed decedent estate that falls to probate.
Yes.
A process of gradual or relatively peaceful social, political, and economic advance. Again, evolutionary. From zygote to this moment as I speak, it's an evolutionary process, and they're saying it's what? It's peaceful social, political, and economic advance. How about this? Something evolved. The process of working out or developing the extraction of a mathematical root. The process in which the whole universe is a progression of interrelated phenomena.
That's true.
One of a set of prescribed movements.
Yep.
So what they're doing is they cut off our beginning. And by the way, prescribed is the zygote in its wholeness. It has all the answers, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
If they cut off the evidence of that origin, but they offer it back to us to complete us or make us whole, that would be considered a prescription.
Mm-hmm.
So they're offering us a prescription, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
To make us, to heal us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that sound like Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's a prescription. So, or a prosthetic. Either way you look at it, it's prosthetic if they're putting the piece back on, the arm back on, or it's a prescription that heals us, which is exactly the same thing as Jesus.
Yeah.
But we have to beg to get it.
Right.
We have to do something to get it back, don't we?
Yes.
When in fact, we already have it.
That's right.
Don't we already have it?
Yes.
As long as you know your origin is godly and it's called fertilization, you already evidence that you don't need what they have to offer.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need it, do you?
Mm-mm.
And if they did cut it and take it and make that claim, then if anything, worst case scenario, you have an equitable position and that equity should pay the bill.
Yep.
All right. By the way, would you ever license back to yourself? Would you ever charge yourself for yourself?
No.
Would you charge yourself to use your body?
No.
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 Can you even be self-employed?
No.
No, when I dig the hole, I dig the hole. I use the instrument that God gave me, the biology, called the body, and I go dig the hole. I don't employ another to dig the hole. I don't employ another to dig the hole. If I do it, there's no self-employment.
Mm-hmm.
I can never self-employ because when I do something, it implies one, not two.
That's correct.
Okay. Wow, this is heavy stuff. One's unique genesis and evolutionary progress. Let's go to progress.
Okay.
You're still good on time?
Yep.
God, I love these conversations.
Me too.
Progress. Look at this. A royal journey marked by pomp and pageant.
Wow.
A royal journey. I'm going to go to Black's real quick, and I'm going to look up...
Okay, let me go get it. I forgot to bring it over.
I think I'm going to look up the word bank. B-A-N-K.
Okay.
I think that's what I'm looking for. I think.
Back together here.
Either that or... Oh, yeah, there it is. Stay with me on bank first.
Okay. So what page is it on bank?
132.
132. Okay, I'm almost there. Okay, I'm there.
I think. Let me see. I'm actually looking for... I'm looking for like a royal entourage. What is it called? Retinue. The retinue of the royal. In other words, those hangers-on or those that surround the royal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they call it a retinue. But I'm looking for. I thought I would find it at the word bank. it's a bank. If you go to page 132, right down below it says a bench or seat. Right, the first paragraph down on page 132. A bench or seat. This is a bank, by the way. The bench of justice, the bench or tribunal occupied by the judges, the seat of judgment, a court. That's what I was looking for, court. A court. So look at bank equals bench, bench equals court, right?
Yes, and that's the retinue.
So now let's go to court.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to get to where I knew I needed to get to. Court. And this is it. This is what I was looking for.
Is that on page 318?
Let's see, 319, 318. Yes. 318, middle column, court. It's actually on the left side, but if you go to the right side, it says the person and suit of the sovereign. You see that?
Yes.
So you have the person, the physical body, and the suit of the sovereign. Is that not the fetal raiment?
Yes.
So the fetal raiment is the suit, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the jacket. It's the vestment, isn't it?
Yes.
So the physical body, in other words, the offspring of the zygote is the fetus, and then it becomes baby. Baby takes a breath, and now you have the breath, the spirit, plus the son. But you're missing the raiment or the cover or the godly origin, aren't you?
Yes. We're all naked.
That's the fetal raiment that was cut off, and it becomes the suit.
Yes.
The jacket that you have to wear if you want to be sovereign.
Yes.
So it says the person, again, the zygote gives offspring, is the father of the fetus, which is also the baby.
Yes.
The son. So the zygote's the father, the fetus/baby is the son, and the breath is the Holy Spirit. So it says the bank is the bench, is the court, yes?
Yes.
So the court says the person, which is the baby. It's the physical body.
Yes.
That's the person. And suit would be the vestment or the fetal raiment from the womb.
Yes.
Of the sovereign. So the court is the man plus his fetal raiment, the vestment. Can you hear me?
I think so, yeah.
Listen to me. The man was the baby, was the fetus, yes?
Yes.
So the zygote gives offspring to the fetus, which became baby, which became man.
Correct, yes.
So the man plus the fetal raiment.
Yes.
That fetal raiment is the vestment or the suit of the sovereign. When the man puts on that vestment, he's the sovereign.
Yes.
All right, now you have the Holy Trinity.
Yes.
So when the man understands his godly origin and accepts fertilization as his origin, he also gets to retain the fetal raiment, doesn't he?
Yes.
And by wearing the fetal raiment in his memory, he's the full sovereign, isn't he?
Yes.
So as the sovereign, he is the court, he is the bench, he is the bank, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay. It says, the person and suit of the sovereign, the place where the sovereign sojourns with his regal retinue, wherever that may be. What is the retinue? I'm going to go to retinue in Webster.
Okay.
Retinue. R-E-T-I-N-U-E. Regal retinue. A group of retainers or attendants.
Wow.
To retain the vestment is to retain the official capacity or the juridical person, isn't it?
Yes.
If we don't know our godly origin, we have to retain an attorney, don't we?
Yes.
Okay, is this starting to make sense?
Yes.
So if we forget God, we don't have our fetal raiment, do we?
No.
And without our fetal raiment, we don't have the vestment that shows our sovereignty with God.
No.
That's what's happened. By claiming a birthday, we cut ourselves off from God, the zygote, and by cutting ourselves off from that material, we cut ourselves off from the raiment or the retinue or the suit of the sovereign.
So the whole story of the emperor, the child seeing the emperor has no clothes, takes on a whole different meaning, doesn't it?
Yes, because that's where we're at.
Exactly.
By cutting ourselves off from our godly origin, we don't have the capacity.
Yeah.
When they take it and place it on deposit, they're taking our capacity and placing it into a communal or a sovereignty, a collective sovereignty.
Yes.
Now that would be fine and dandy. I'd be fine with that if I had the authority without having somebody give me back my stuff, or worse, never tell me how to use it.
Right, exactly.
That's what they've done. Mm-hmm. They've made it impossible for us to lay a legitimate claim upon that material. We never know how to use it, do we?
Nope.
I don't want to learn how to use it. Since they cut it off of me, since they took it and put it on the collective depository, then I think they should manage that shit, not me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I get to go live my life as the sovereign.
Yes.
And I never have to do any accounting. I get to go do what I want based upon their game, mm-hmm. the rules of their game.
Yep.
And I should never have to think about anything related to this nonsense, any of the rules, because as the sovereign,
yes,
I'm exempt from everything.
Yep.
That's how it should be.
Wherever the sovereign sojourns, wherever that may be.
Wherever that may be. So me sitting here mm-hmm. in this office speaking to you right now, I am here. Mm-hmm. And the fact that I am here whole in mind, body, and spirit. Mm-hmm. A full accounting, meaning all accounted, all present and accounted for. Mm-hmm. So I'm all present, and the accounting from fertilization, mm-hmm. all present and accounted for, is the sovereign.
Yes.
And wherever I am sojourning, I'm already home. Mm-hmm. Is this starting to make sense? Why that A memoir is so important?
Yes, we are the person and the suit together. It's all here.
Of the sovereign.
Of the sovereign is all here.
The material cut off of us, again, is the fetal raiment known as the vestment. That's the suit of the sovereign that's been placed in the United States on deposit.
Yes.
That's the Father aspect. That's God the Father. Our sovereignty only exists, or actually it is only evident from fertilization.
Yeah.
The birthday cuts us off from the sovereignty.
Yep. So when we know that our beginning is fertilization, we are the person and the suit of the sovereign together. Which
is why they are forcing the masks on everybody, because they can't. The people cannot take back their sovereignty without owning everything.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They don't want to give back everything. They would rather kick the board and destroy everything than give it back to the cud chewing masses.
Yes.
And I don't blame them, because the cud-chewing masses will destroy everything. Look what they do. Look at out there, out in the Pacific Northwest, where all these people are out there destroying shit because they're angry. That's the cud-chewing masses.
Yeah. Yep.
And rightfully so. I'm actually with, mm-hmm. If I have to use the word elite, I'm with the elite on this. Mm-hmm. Because when you hand over the power to a bunch of children, mm-hmm. you have Lord of the Flies.
Exactly.
And that's what we're experiencing now is they're trying to regain control of all this stuff, probably because of us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But But the fact is that I believe we have touched upon our sovereignty, the suit of the sovereign, through the fetal raiment, which is called just cogens.
Mm-hmm.
And just cogens is international. And so we are exempt when we know our godly origin is fertilization. Imagine if the whole world knew it was exempt from all of these nonsensical rules and statutes and codes.
But what the whole world has to recognize is that also means complete self-responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely, that's what it is. I believe that they set up a system that only people that are worthy of that matter will find it. And when they do find it, they would be removed from the nightmare. That's where I'm going towards. I want the 13 and whoever get it that can defend it.
Yep.
To experience the heaven on earth that we should experience, but full responsibility. In other words, we don't take our inheritance and become the spendthrift, the waste cases that destroy everything with that inheritance. We use it for good. We use it for the betterment of man.
Yes.
Hey, I'm in. I'm all in, man.
Yep. Me too.
I would enjoy spreading that the intellect or the educational aspect of this stuff at the highest level and watching others flourish rather than punish. Right now, I think it's all being used to punish.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I agree.
Hang on a second. Okay, I'm almost done. I would love that.
Me too. I've always wanted to, actually.
Wouldn't it be a joy to actually be all the way involved in a foundation where all you're doing is looking for ways to help, but only help at a high level, where those that have great ideas, and not to be used against man. In other words, in my world, there's no jets flying above us spraying particulates into the air, destroying the blue sky.
No, and there's so many solutions that are already present that it's not necessary for the creation of those things that they're spreading, from chemical things. I know people who personally who have solutions to those things that it could.
Well, and that may very well be true. Imagine if you had the power to extend the finances to people. But again, this is about controlling the cud chewing masses.
Yes.
It is. I mean, fluoride in the water, GMO foods. All of this nonsense is about control. Because, again, I do understand what's happening.
I do too.
But I don't. And I feel sad.
Yes.
I feel sad for people that believe in the mask. But those people that believe in the masks are a problem.
Yep.
If you're willfully wearing a mask because you believe it, not because you're forced to. Let's be very clear on this. People that are forced to so they can have a paycheck at the end of the week, people that are forced to because they have no alternative, they're not who I'm talking about.
I know.
I'm talking about people that actually believe the mask is real. Those people there are dead weight. They are dead weight. Because they don't have the ability to think critically enough for reality. They could never actually be responsible because they need somebody to protect them from a boogeyman.
Yeah, and they don't have their will list too. They don't have this.
Their will list. They're not interested in standing on reality, or again, laws of nature, nature's God, which require you to act. They want somebody to act for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, they're dead weight. They're literally dead weight.
Well, and their biggest fear is that they've learned how to use the system, and from what I've talked to them, that their fear is that their benefits will go away.
Which means they're not responsible.
Exactly.
So if they're worried about getting something for no thing, then they're not responsible. All right, where are we at?
We're at progress.
Progress. So progress. Oh, we went, yeah, that's right. Progress. Let me see what, there it is. A state procession. But it's a small s state, isn't it?
Yes.
And procession means what? Let me see. I'm going to go to procession. A state procession, a group of individuals moving along in an orderly or often ceremonial way. Look at succession. Sequence. Continuous forward movement, progression.
Yeah.
Which is what we're talking about. Yes. From zygote to this moment is progress, isn't it?
Yes, and it's no matter how much story you have, it happens.
Progress from A, perfect. I'm going to go to perfect. Perfect. Being entirely without fault or defect, flawless. Is the zygote without fault?
Yes.
Is there remember what a fault is? Like a fault line between California and the rest of the continent. A fault is a crack, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is the zygote whole?
Yes.
There is. It's undivided, isn't it?
Yes.
In fact, it is the only time you can give me your undivided attention, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So, from the zygote is without fault. There's no break, there's no cut, there's no division.
Yep.
It's the only place in space and time where you are 100% a singularity. Yes. Perfect. You are perfect as the zygote.
Yes.
Your estate is perfect as the zygote.
Yes.
It says satisfying all requirements, which is accurate, corresponding to an ideal standard or abstract concept. Is the birth certificate an abstract?
Yes.
So what they're doing is they're offering the rest of your estate back to you through an abstract, aren't they?
Yep.
Through a certificate. Faithfully reproducing the original is perfect. Faithfully. Look at this. Specifically, letter perfect. Letter perfect. Does that sound like the middle initial period?
Yep.
Yeah, they're using that as a signal that you know that a piece of you was cut off. Do I want to use that? No. Is it hard not for me to use that? Yes, it is, because I know that Curtis R. Period Kallenbach identifies all of the material. Mm-hmm. But by allowing the Curtis R. Period Kallenbach to exist, it's acknowledging the game itself is valid.
Right. Exactly.
And I can't do that because the only way, a sovereign doesn't play games.
Right.
You can't be both whole and not whole. Mm-hmm. If I'm whole from fertilization to this moment, do I need to play the game?
No.
No.
You can't play the game. You just can't.
I can't play the game, actually. You're right. I can't play the game. Expert, proficient, pure, total. This is perfect. Lacking no essential detail, complete. In other words, no cut.
Yep.
Look at this one. Obsolete says sane, S-A-N-E.
I saw that.
So by being cut, you're insane, aren't you?
Yes.
D, absolute, unequivocal. Absolute. Doesn't the church give you absolution?
Mm-hmm.
Right, only when you beg for your shit back.
Mm-hmm.
Unmitigated. No mitigation.
Mm-hmm.
The act, mature. Look at that, mature.
Yep.
By mature, think about that. That's opposite of immature, isn't it?
Sure is.
So when you're mature, are you at the age of majority?
Yes.
What is the favorite word of patriots when they're trying to gain control of something? What I'm trying to think of the word. What do they call it? It's Latin.
Boy, I don't know that one.
What do they call it? What they say they are. I'll think of it later.
Okay.
Contented, satisfied. Isn't it funny how you have the Rolling Stones singing "I Can't Get No Satisfaction"?
Mm-hmm. Certain and sure too. Right.
So uncertain. In no uncertain terms.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard? That's what the courts are dealing with.
Yeah.
Uncertainty.
Yep.
It goes on to say sexually mature and fully differentiated.
Wow.
Look at having both stamens and pistils in the same flower. That is the zygote having both poles, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So now you're looking, if you look at the singularity of the zygote, you're also looking at the yin and yang symbol, aren't you?
Yes, you are. Mm-hmm.
Without differentiation.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect is a verb. To bring to final form. To make perfect. By the way, I am the alpha, the beginning, and the omega, the end.
Yes.
When you die, everything goes back to where it was, doesn't it?
Yes.
So think about that. If the beginning is where all of you are one, but then you get cut off and live your entire life separately as an individual, when the individual dies, it goes back into the all, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
It goes back and goes, the title and everything re-emerge into the whole, which is the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. A perfect non-reducible. Let's go to reduce. To reduce something. To draw together or cause to converge, to consolidate. To diminish in size, amount, extent, or number. By the way, when somebody thinks of the zygote as a single cell, that's a really small thing, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
But it's all, isn't it?
Yes.
Even though it's one, you can't reduce one, can you?
No.
In other words, the truth is not reducible, and neither is the one. The zygote is not reducible, is it?
Mm-mm.
You can't reduce the zygote to what created the zygote. You can't reduce the zygote to sperm and ovum, can you?
No.
Because if you reduce it beyond the one or the wholeness, you destroy it.
Yes.
So you cannot reduce the zygote. You can't reduce the whole estate to something less than the whole.
That's
The
right.
zygote is the whole. So it says to decrease the volume or concentrate the flavor by boiling, to narrow down, to restrict. So there's no restrictions.
Mm-mm.
To make shorter, to abridge. Think about that.
You can't abridge.
If my life begins at fertilization and ends at last breath, fertilization in the womb, last breath out of the womb, if you cut that continuous line anywhere, you shorten it, don't you?
Yes.
So you can't shorten it. You can't abridge it.
Uh-uh.
Look at this. To reduce is to save.
Yeah.
Archaic says to restore to righteousness. Wait a minute. If I'm not cut, I don't need to be saved.
Nope.
So if something has been reduced, it implies save or salvation, doesn't it? Salvage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to be salvaged if I'm already whole.
Correct.
So again, non-reducible. To force to capitulate, to reduce. To force or compel.
Mm-hmm.
To bring to a systematic form or character is to reduce.
You certainly did that.
To put down in written or printed form. There's your birth certificate right there. If they reduce me to a piece of paper, they've destroyed me, haven't they?
They sure have.
To correct, there it is right there, a fracture. So the zygote, before any division at all, is whole.
Yes.
To, what do they call it? To fault.
Yeah.
Is to cut.
Yes.
So when they cut that cord, they reduce it. They create a fault, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And whose fault is it? Is it who claims the birthday?
I do. When I
If you claim a birthday, whose fault is it?
mine.
There it is. I
give
just
up-
identified the problem, didn't I?
Yep. I give up my story, my mystery.
You give up you give up the mystery or my story, and by giving up your story, you fall into his story.
And then I have to be corrected.
Right, because the scripture says so.
Mm-hmm.
Their script says you need to be corrected.
Yes. That's the prescription.
There it is. Look at this. To correct a fracture by bringing displaced or broken parts back into their normal positions.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe umbilical and extra-embryonic, right?
Yep.
22 U.S.C. A, B, and C. When an owner arrives with his baggage and effects, there's no IRS, there's no duty, and there's no property taxes.
That's right.
Because you're whole.
Yep.
Look at to reduce is also to lower in grade or rank, to demote.
Yep. Downgrade.
To lower in condition or status, to downgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want a status correction. How about just becoming whole?
Yeah.
To diminish in strength or density, to diminish in value. Look at this, to change the denominations or form without changing the value. That's conversion. Look at it, it even says that. B, to transpose from one form into another, to convert.
Yep.
So again, that's an unlawful conversion, isn't it?
It sure is.
To change an expression or an equivalent but more fundamental expression, to break down, to pulverize.
Wow.
To change, number 12. To become diminished or lessened.
Yep.
And then finally, to become converted or equated. A perfect, non-reducible, single-celled masterpiece. Let's go to masterpiece. Masterpiece. I figure it'll probably take us 2 hours to get through this, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
Look at masterpiece, a work done with extraordinary skill. Now, I'm not arguing about the extra or the extraordinary. I'm saying that if you cut off the piece of me, it looks to be extra.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, is there any extra parts at the zygotic level?
No.
No, the zygote doesn't have extra, does it? It is all. So if something is all, like truth, is there anything extra or beyond it?
No.
No. So truth is non-reducible. There's nothing more than truth, is there?
Mm-mm.
So if your existence is based upon the whole truth and nothing but the truth, which is the zygote,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing extra, is there?
Mm-mm.
Only if they cut something off of you and you're considered an individual.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's an extra part,
Yes.
but there is no extra if you're whole.
No.
The other thing is that the placenta has the residue and remainder of your estate, doesn't it?
Yes.
As the fetal property.
Yes.
But if they keep mother's property attached, adhesion contract, if they keep mother's property attached to you, is that extra?
Yes.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Yep.
Read all about it in the periodical known as the birth certificate.
Yes.
Every time you claim that birthday, it's a periodical. It's a new period, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Extra, extra. Read all about the fetus with the maternal placenta attached to it.
You just re-upped it.
Yeah, now you have an adhesion contract with the Roman Catholic Church for another year.
You just re-upped your adhesion. Yep.
Yeah. Number 2 says a piece of work presented to a medieval guild as evidence of qualification for the rank of master. Okay, if I actually know my godly origin, am I not Master Curtis?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In my affidavit that went on the record
Yes.
in October of 2018, I actually identified oneself as Master Curtis.
Yes.
Okay. It says it right up there in the upper left-hand corner.
And every time we renew the birth date, we renew our subscription.
Right, but we're no longer masters. What are we?
No. We're
Journeymen.
journeymen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're not the master, we're the journeyman. We're on the journey looking to become the master.
Yes.
All right, but when you're whole, you're no longer the journeyman, are you?
No.
See, everybody is seeking the Grail. Once you find the Grail, you're the master.
Right. And because the Grail doesn't look like what your story in your head is, it's easy to overlook it.
Right, and for those people that are claiming Jesus, they will never actually find it because they are it. You can't find what you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for something external when all of it is here now, you'll never find it, will you?
Did you read the second one in Masterpiece there? a piece of work presented to a medieval guild as evidence of qualification for the rank of master. That's what they're... Wow.
I'm going to click on master just for the heck of it. A male teacher, a person holding an economic degree higher than a bachelor's, the degree itself, often capitalized. A revered religious leader, there's your ecclesiastical persona. Look at this, a master, a worker or artisan qualified to teach apprentices. So again, the parish apprentice, the county apprentice, is the one that's cut off. Mm-hmm. When the apprentice finally learns the whole story, mm-hmm. and pulls himself together, actually has integrity, and knows that his integrity is based upon the zygote or his godly origin at fertilization. At that point, he's no longer a parish apprentice, is he?
Nope.
It goes on to say, an artist, performer, or player of consummate skill. Consummate. To consummate is to do what?
To bring together. I don't know.
It says to complete in every detail. So you have to. So the father and the mother must be together.
Yes.
To consummate, correct?
Yes.
All right. So you need both the zygote. You need all of it. The Father, Son, Holy Spirit, in order to consummate become a master.
Yes.
Look at this. Master, a great figure of the past, as in science or art, whose work serves as a model or ideal. So perfection, the zygote, the ideal of perfection is the zygote. So the only way we can become that is to know it.
Yes.
Is to know that we are perfect.
Yep.
They get everybody to agree that they're not perfect.
Yep.
When in fact, the sovereign is perfection from fertilization.
Yep.
All right. With his regal retinue, the fetal raiment, better known as the juridical person or official capacity of vestment.
Yes.
Which brings us back to 1666 Sedekevai Act, where it says, when a man proves life, he's revested with his title, and life begins at fertilization.
Yes.
All right. Unbelievable. It goes on to say, one having authority over another, a ruler or governor. Well, again, we are the Lord over this universe. We are God over this universe. One that conquers or masters, the victor or superior. Again, later in my letter, it says superior being, doesn't it? Uh-huh. Or supreme being. Mm-hmm. Supreme being. Yeah. Person licensed to command a merchant ship. Look at that.
Yeah.
One having control. An owner, especially of a slave or animal. Are you not the owner of your body?
Yes.
But the owner is the spirit, isn't it?
Yes.
When the spirit dies, the owner leaves, doesn't it?
Yep.
Elvis left the building.
Yep.
The employer, especially of a servant. Mm-hmm. The husband, the male head of a household. Have we not been decapitated?
Yes.
Right. The father, the male head, has been severed from us, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Archaic says Mr. Look at that. The eldest son of the Scottish Viscount or Baron.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the several officers of court appointed to assist a judge. A master mechanism or device. Yeah, it's the birth certificate again.
Yeah.
Look at this. The zygote is what? An original from which copies can be made.
Yep.
And then, of course, the birth certificate then evidences the zygotic material, a master recording.
Yep.
Master Curtis.
Yep.
It even says it on my baby bracelet, doesn't
right.
it?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I have it still. Master is an adjective, having chief authority, dominant, skilled, proficient, principal, there it is, mm-hmm. with an A, P-A-L, predominant, superlative. Being a device or mechanism that controls the operation of another mechanism. or that establishes a standard, such as a dimension or weight. Again, zygostate is the last word in the Black's Law Dictionary.
Right.
It's the measure of a man.
Right.
To become a master, to overcome, to become skilled or proficient in the use of. This is the verb. To gain a thorough understanding of, to produce a master recording of something. That's master. So it says a perfect, non-reducible, single-celled masterpiece, which is the zygote in the womb, to a whole, non-reducible, thoroughly enlightened, inspired man, inspired is breath, beyond the womb, outside the womb. Maybe a mysterious thing. Let's go to mystery. Mystery. Something not understood or beyond understanding. By the way, this is a weird thing. Beyond understanding. If you don't know something exists, can you understand it?
No.
No, it's an enigma. It's outside of your purview. It's outside of your memory. It's outside of your comprehension.
Yes.
Is the zygote outside of everybody's comprehension in most cases?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. They're stuck with the birthday, aren't they?
Yep.
So they're stuck with the individual that begins outside the womb, the capital G narrative, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
It says a piece of fiction dealing usually with the solution. Look at that. Of a mysterious crime.
Mm-hmm.
The secret or specialized practices or ritual peculiar to an occupation or a body of people.
Mm-hmm.
A private secret. Profound. This is mystery. Profound, inexplicable, or secretive quality or character. And here we come. We're coming to it. A religious truth that one can know only by revelation and cannot fully understand. Any of the 20 events, such as the Nativity, the Crucifixion, or Assumption, serving as a subject for meditation during the saying of the Rosary. This is mystery. And finally, a Christian sacrament, specifically the Eucharist. The Eucharist, the body and blood of Christ. The very thing that was inside the amnion,
Mm-hmm.
which is us.
Yep.
A secret religious rite. A secret religious rite believed to impart enduring bliss to the initiate. Initiate also implies initial,
Mm-hmm.
which is the middle initial period, by the way.
Yes.
Look at this, a cult devoted to such rites.
Mm-hmm.
And we're witnessing that by the people being forced to wear a mask.
Yep.
They're a mystery play. So again, mystery is the Eucharist. The Eucharist is the body and blood of Christ, which is us. We are the blood and the body of Christ, the vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Mystery as a noun says a trade or a craft. Archaic says the body of persons engaged in a particular trade, business, or profession, a guild.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, it's probably the Christian burial cults. But look at this, a trade or a craft. In other words, the father's name, which is attached to the zygotic material through the Lanham Act of 1947, 1948. Or a craft. It's a boat, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the mystery is a boat.
Yep.
Or the ark or the vessel that you came in on through the womb.
Yeah.
Again, right back to the Ark of the Covenant, the boat, the vessel, the vehicle, whatever it is that got you here from there, from fertilization to the threshold outside to the new world. That is a craft, isn't it?
Yes.
Maybe a mysterious thing. I'm just going to go to Black's Law right now, and I'm going to go to the word R-E-S, res. Res. Page 1172 in Black's Fifth. Res.
Oh, it goes on, doesn't it? Oh. I'm there.
Okay. The subject matter of a trust. There it is right there. Or will. Mm-hmm. The subject matter of a trust or will. So if there's a will, there's no need for a trust, yes?
Right.
And the will is expressed, I mean, as long as you're living and breathing and you express the will, there's no need for a trust, yes?
Right.
So when I expressed the will of God through a memoir, is my property, should my property be the res of a trust?
Yes. No.
No. There you go. If I'm alive and I have a will, the will and it's expressed through a memoir, do I need to have my property held in trust?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. It goes on to say in the civil law, a thing. So res is a thing, isn't it? An object.
Yes.
It says, as a term of this law, the word has a very wide and extensive signification, including not only things which are objects of property, but also such as are not capable of individual ownership. Individual ownership.
Yeah.
Do I think about this? Not capable of individual ownership.
And is a baby.
One. There is no individual if it's one.
No.
So the term individual does not apply to the one.
Mm-mm.
No, it doesn't.
Mm-mm.
That's why this is so hard for people to comprehend. It says, and in Old English law, it is said to have a general import. There's your general population. There's your general public.
And didn't our when the cut happened, it was imported into the general.
Right, it becomes an import.
Yes.
Subject to duty at the custom.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Homeland Security's the one watching over the imports, right?
Yes.
It's called the duty.
Mm-hmm.
USC 22 USC 288 B says there is no duty.
Right.
If the owner arrives in connection with his baggage, in effect. So if there's no cut, there's no import.
Right, but when you arrive with your baggage, when you arrive in that wholeness, your duty, you take care of your duty rather than...
No, but there is no duty.
Right.
There's no implied duty at all if you're whole.
Yes, that's true.
So you don't use the word duty when there is no duty.
I was thinking self-responsibility, so...
I know that, but don't use the word duty because they say there's no duty.
Yes, I get it.
Because duty's collected.
Yes. Yes, you're right.
Okay. It says, comprehending both corporeal and incorporeal things of whatever kind, nature, or species, here it is, by res, also known as that thing or the object, according to the modern civilian, is meant everything that may form an object of rights, in opposition to persona, which is regarded as a subject of right. Subject matter jurisdiction implies, or look out, even it says subject matter, it implies the subject and the matter as separate things.
Yes.
So the res becomes the subject matter. There's the subject, and then there's the subject's matter.
Right.
If it's all one thing, there is no subject matter, is there?
No.
No, there's no separation. So if I, the spirit, and the body are one thing, there's no matter. There's no ground for that court to act upon.
Mm-mm.
Right. Res equals thing. Res equals implied trust. If there's a will, there's no trust necessary, right?
Yes.
If I'm alive and I'm expressing but I have to prove life. The only way I can prove life, the only way I can be alive is from the beginning.
Yes.
A birth certificated person is not alive, therefore his property falls into a trust.
Yes.
A living being from fertilization, they call it a person in being. When that person in being, the spirit-filled vessel, exists, there is a will behind it, and the will of that living person in being supersedes a trust.
Yes.
There is no trust necessary for a living man.
No.
Okay, that's why all the people that I get so upset when I have to deal with these people that talk to me about trusts.
Yeah. Well, the trust implies a tertium quid.
The trust implies you're dead.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're dead. If there's a cut, then you're dead. If there's a cut, then the placenta might stand as a tertium quid or third person. If there's a cut, all of that stuff happens. If you're alive from fertilization, there's no need to entrust your property with another.
Correct.
No sovereign places his property in trust.
Mm-mm.
No, he rules over it.
It's
Go ahead.
well, I just got this image of, most people think of trust about out their property, but the reality is, in this context and situation, it's like you're going, oh, you know what, I can't control my body, so here, you better take care of it for me.
Yeah, they're basically, by you cutting yourself off with a birthday, you've actually created, think about it as a wild dog off of a leash.
Right.
So by you claiming a birthday, you cut the animal off from consciousness. So now there's a wild animal devoid of consciousness that's out there at large.
Yes.
So now there's a dog off its leash.
Yeah.
The leash would be consciousness.
Mm-hmm. As evidenced by what's happening in the Northwest.
Yeah, look at them. They're all acting like animals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why I'm not in disagreement. I just don't want to be party. I don't want to be viewed as one of those animals or those children.
Right.
And that's why, again, I don't know how long we're gonna. If we get identified and as one of the living, and those that are conscious of our actions, then I expect to be treated with respect.
Yes, exactly.
Mysterious thing. The thing obviously is, if it's cut, it becomes a thing separate. It becomes a mystery.
Yes.
Separate. But if it's uncut and you recognize your story separate from third person, his story, which is the tertium quid, if you recognize your wholeness, there is no tertium quid and there is no third person to deal with. Mm-hmm. It goes on to say, a mysterious thing to the marginal, unlearned, or huddled masses. Let's go to marginal real quick. Now, marginal, out on the edges, out on the frontier edges, way out at the margin, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the outside, if you think of the margins of your life, the margins would be the outer edges. In other words, the alpha is a margin and the omega is a margin, isn't it?
Yes.
In between is called the mean time. Mm-hmm. But the marginal edges are birth and death, beginning and end. Mm-hmm. So at the margins, at the marginal persons are the ones at the very beginning, at the very end. But the reality is, if you're whole, then from fertilization to last breath is one thing. Mm-hmm. Not three things, meaning not the person at the beginning, not the person in the middle, and the person at the end. Those are three things, aren't they?
Yes.
If there's only one unbroken thing, there is no marginal person, is there?
No.
No, not if you're whole. Mm-mm. If you left something behind with the cut, there is an extreme marginal difference between the thing frozen in time and you in the present moment. There's a marginal person there.
Yes, there is.
There's one frozen at the front. Mm-hmm. Or the beginning.
Yeah.
Of or relating to or situated at the margin or border, not of central importance, limited in extent, significance, or stature, occupying the borderland of a relatively stable territorial or cultural area. Again, marginal is at the edges, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting about that is, if we're whole, then we're whole moving through time. There is no margin. Even if we're in the present moment. Mm-hmm. The present is everything, isn't it?
Yes.
The laws of nature and nature's God doesn't have marginal edges. There is no yesterday and tomorrow. It's all present, isn't it?
Yes.
And presence is truth.
Yes.
Anything not present is fictional.
Yes.
If it doesn't exist today, it's fictitious.
Yep.
So yesterday's a fiction and tomorrow's a fiction, and only the present is reality.
Yes.
So fictions from yesterday or tomorrow are marginal, aren't they?
Yes.
See how easy this is?
Mm-hmm.
Characterized by the incorporation of habits and values from two divergent cultures and by incomplete assimilation in either. Again, marginal. Two cultures.
Wow.
Two cultures. American, of the soil, just Oli, and bloodline, just sanguinis. Sounds like two cultures. The father, the masculine, is a culture, and the mother is another culture, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, look at the yin and yang symbol again. The bipolarity of the feminine and masculine in one unit. Yeah. That's the zygote, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. What's interesting is when my mom and dad lay together, they produced, over their marriage, 6 zygotes. What's funny is those zygotes came from 23 chromosomes of my dad and 23 from my mom, but each one of those 6 zygotes produced 3 boys and 3 girls. Mm-hmm. So the zygote itself could have gone either way, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So even though they drop off building materials, we don't know whether it's going to go towards the girl or the boy. Mm-hmm. Again, 2 different cultures, and by incomplete assimilation. Next, it says excluded from or existing outside the mainstream of society. Mainstream of society, a group or school of thought, located on the fringe of consciousness. By the way, is the birthday the fringe of consciousness?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because for most people, you go no further than the birthday, do you?
No.
No, that's the fringe. That's the outer edge of your consciousness. Reality begins, though, at fertilization 9 months earlier, doesn't it?
Correct.
So if the fringe of consciousness is the birthday, you become marginal in your own admission.
Yes.
All right. Wow, we're going way long. Close to the lower limit of qualification, acceptability, or function, barely exceeding the minimum requirements. This is marginal. Having a character or capacity fitted to yield a supply of goods. Oh my God.
Wow.
So when you claim a birthday or that cut occurs, having a character or capacity fitted to yield a supply of goods, the unborn of animals right there.
Yep.
Which when marketed at existing price levels will barely cover the cost of production.
Wow.
Of or relating to or derived from goods, unborn of animals, produced and marketed with such results. Marginal profits. 5, relating to or being a function of a random variable that is obtained from a function of several random variables by integrating or summing over all possible values of the other variables. If you really look at that and take the time to understand what it's talking about. Again, it can always go either way. Mm-hmm. But you have to understand all of it in order for it to make sense. A mysterious thing to well, go ahead.
Well, every day we can choose today, are we going to choose wholeness or are we going to choose the birthday? Every day.
If we our consciousness is marginal and we believe in a birthday, we are living in the past.
Yes, absolutely.
We are never present, and we're always at the capacity of infancy.
Right.
If we're fully present, we recognize things as they really are. Today, there's snow on the ground. It's probably cold out. I put on a coat or a jacket when I go out. Mm-hmm. I recognize reality for what it is, and I deal with reality as it is. Mm-hmm. If I deal with the past, I'm not dealing in the present. Yeah. Meaning that if I did something stupid 10 years ago and I can't get that mentally out of my head, then I will have a guilt attached, and I will be acting. My present moment will be based upon a past guilt or a past action, and so I won't be fully present, and I will be struggling with that past.
Yes.
That's why to be fully present is to recognize things, that the mistakes you made, correct them, eat them. Hey, eat the shit that you created, and stop making those mistakes today.
Yes.
Every day is a day to fix what you broke yesterday and not redo it.
Yep.
Marginal. Mysterious thing to the marginal, unlearned, or huddled masses. When I wrote huddled masses, I am speaking specifically of that new Colossus, or the Colossus speech that is on the Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
The new Colossus, in fact, I'm going to go to it right now because I'm speaking specifically about the cut material. So was she when she wrote it, if she actually existed, which I doubt. New Colossus poem. Go to Wikipedia. By the way, the supposed author is Emma Lazarus, as in Lazarus coming alive from the dead.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not possible. This is all fake. The whole thing is fake. But there's a line in the "Give me your tired, your poor." It says, unbelievable here. The whole poem is amazing. But I'm going to just read the last stanza part. It says, "Keep ancient lands." Does that sound like the zygote?
Mm-hmm.
Keep is also to jail or to protect.
Mm-hmm.
Keep ancient lands, your storied pomp. By the way, pomp, it's right out of Regal Retinue, isn't it?
Yes.
Storied pomp. Fictitious. So it's based upon, so keep ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she. With silent lips, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. Goes completely against the mass, doesn't it?
Yes.
But here's the key. It says, your wretched refuse of your teeming shore. That is, the wretched refuse is the remaining, the human remains after birth. It's the afterbirth material that is the wreckage, the wrecked vessel, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
On shore.
Yes.
If you go to the Knights Hospitaller, it talks about the Christians coming ashore, the new Christians.
Yeah.
The Christian material is the cut material.
Yes.
The Christ material. It says, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. The refuse is that broken vessel that you were in inside the womb.
Yes.
The shore is the new world, the dry land.
Mm-hmm.
So the boat that got you here is the wretched refuse, the waste material.
Mm-hmm.
It says, send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. That's on the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, I know.
By the way, it came from France in 1886. It was erected, and believe me, everything was already in play by then. And by the way, that particular Statue of Liberty, is it on the continent or is it on an island?
It's on an island.
Right, where they collected last names, yes?
Yes, they did. And changed.
Ellis Island. You're right. They collected and changed many of them. On my mom's side, when my grandpa landed in 1911, his name went from Papa Bacalio to Pappas.
Yep.
So they were changing family names even when they were collecting them.
Yep.
Huddled masses. But truth be told, such a perfect, indivisible thing is the zygotic estate divisible.
No.
Not without destruction.
That's right.
You destroy the whole man when you cut the umbilical cord.
Yes.
It says a perfect, indivisible thing occurs every day. I'm speaking about the non-reducible single-celled zygote and its evolutionary progress.
Mm-hmm.
It's all one thing. It can't be cut. It can't be separated. It can't be broken. They actually use the word several states. Several means cut.
Yes.
So how many states of existence do you have, and have you ever had? Only one.
One.
And that state of existence is where?
Here, now, today.
You got in the present. That's it. Again, when the zygote was created through fertilization, what day was it?
Today.
It was today. And every day since then, what day was it for the living?
Today.
It was today. It's always the present for the living. There is no living in the past, and there is no living in the future. Life exists only in the present moment.
Yes.
So it's been a successive 60-plus years of success of today's for me.
Yes.
It's the present. And finally, to close out this thing, what does it say here? It says, a perfect, indivisible thing, I'm speaking about my biological existence, occurs every day for everybody within the laws of nature, nature's God. And here's the last statement. It says, yet imagine, if you will, Mr. President, the nightmare experienced by a butterfly unable to disconnect from the burden of its immature, earthbound past and wingless counterpart. It's a burden. If we don't accept our origin and keep moving and progressing with responsibility, remember, we get to keep moving forward. We don't need the umbilical and extraembryonic anymore, do we?
No.
Just like the butterfly doesn't need that cocoon, does it?
No.
If we remain tied or staked to that fetal material, we can't move forward, can we?
No.
Especially when they record that material and they call it a birth certificate, we're staked to that ground, and we can't fly as long as we remain staked to that idea, that thought.
Right. We're like the donkey that's staked with a string on it that goes around in a circle.
I have to, let's finish with this. It's funny because you said donkey, and remember that there are two parties. There's the elephant and the donkey, yes? Well, the donkey is considered the ass or the tail end, isn't it? That represents something. It represents the tail end. The end.
The end.
But what does an elephant typically represent? Never forgetting.
Never forgetting. Right.
So you have the hard, what we'll call the right, or the Republicans, better known as the conservatives, that do not forget their origin.
Right.
Which is all the in the womb property, which is the United States, which is the father. Then you have the donkey or the ass or the beauty or bottom land, which is the labor side of it, which is also the Democrats.
Wow.
So you have the mother or the feminine Democrat with the father Republican. And they're represented by a memory, the elephant, and the ass. Well, by the way, assume, A-S-S-U-M-E, right? Assume? The ass makes what? What does to assume mean?
It makes an ass out of you and me.
Right, but what about the assumed name? That's the ass, isn't it?
Yep.
So again, looking at this two-party system, you have the memory side of it, the origin, and you have the ass and the donkey. That is the sheehaw. I mean, it's the non-thinking animal, isn't it? By the way, a donkey's also a work animal, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a field animal. There you go. Capital is the memory or the mind. Labor is the donkey or the field animal.
Yes.
Capital and labor has been split. It's a house divided, isn't it?
Yep.
That's it. That's the first paragraph right there. Only 2 hours and 30 minutes.
I want to say one more thing.
Okay.
Just as a note, that you have capital A, perfect, non-reducible, single cell. You have A, capital, mysterious thing, and A, perfect, indivisible thing. And that is the alpha.
I am using capital A to also signify the beginning, the alpha moment.
Yes. And I just wanted to note that.
Thank you, because that's where, I mean, a memoir is the capital A representing the alpha beginning, which is the memoir, the forgotten time in the womb.
Yes.
It's a memoir to never forget one's godly origin.
Yes.
All right?
Yep.
Good for the day?
Yep.
All right, lady, love you. I'm glad. It wasn't so painful, was it?
No, and I will get that out today. So, let's
Okay.
go off. Let me turn this off.
Okay.